see here. We're broadcasting this live on a few different platforms, so I'm going to try to get to all the questions that I can, and I apologize if I skip over you. If I do, you're more than welcome to pop it back in the chat box, and I will try to get to it the next time around when I see it. But I'm going to be trying to monitor a few different screens here. So let's see. Cool. I see myself live. That's good. Chris Davey asked if I'm running for president. I'm not going to. Let's see. In 4 years, or maybe in 8 years, I'll give it a try. Chris, would you vote for me or not? Just let me know. If you'll vote for me, then maybe I'll go for it. All right. Hello, Sam from Berlin. Hello, Maryland. I'm glad all you guys are joining us. Let me know what I can do to help you guys and what kind of questions you have for me. Jordan, what's up, Greg? Yonkers, NY in the house. I'm glad you're joining us. I'll give you guys another quick update on the $1 million case study because it's what I'm excited about right now. It's what's going really good, really well. Is sweet. We're up to, I think, $315,000 in revenue. So our goal is $1 million. So we're about 1/3 of the way there. So it's pretty exciting. We have 2 products so far. We have our jungle sticks, which is our bamboo marshmallow sticks that have done the majority of our revenue just because they've been out the longest. Our new products are Jungle Snuggs, which is a hooded baby towel. It's doing really well also. So I'm stoked about that. Let's see, we're selling about 20 units a day across all of our variations. This week, it looks like the pink one's the most popular. We have white, blue, and pink. It looks like for like the first month or 6 weeks or something, white was our most popular one. Lately, the pink one's been doing really well, so that's cool. The blue one doesn't seem to be quite as popular, but it's still good. So, yeah, I hope you guys are following along with that because it's super cool. Let's see. Hello, Sandrix. Hello, KL, Tommy. Can I work for Jungle Scout? We do have a few open positions right now. JungleScout.com/jobs or /careers. You can find it there. Oh, Gary Hong's joining us. What's up, man? I'm glad you're joining. Hello from Barcelona. Hello. I'm glad everyone's joining us. Awesome. Devere's joining us. What's up, Devere? So I recognize a lot of the names here, which is fun. All right. So what can I do, you guys, to help you? I found like, it seems like with entrepreneurs and with entrepreneurship, there's this, it seems like most people understand kind of like 90% of it, right? And they get hung up on just like these small little things that generally only take a little bit of clearing up. Oftentimes this is why like mentors or coaches are so successful because like they help people through these little stumbling blocks. But think of me helping you guys like why I do that, why I do these Q&A sessions. Like what little things are holding you up, and let me answer them so you can get over this hurdle in your particular business. And yeah, as a result, start to be a lot more successful or start to launch your first product or grow that business, start a side hustle, whatever it may be. Hey Greg, would it be possible to develop a search engine to see the price difference between marketplaces? Some products with the same ASIN are selling for less than half the price in different marketplaces. Simply buy from Europe and sell in the US. Fantastic arbitrage opportunity. That would probably be possible. I mean, technically that's very possible. I don't think that we'll personally be building that specific tool, but I guess your question just, is it possible? And I'd say, yeah, it is, no doubt. Greg, I'm starting with Amazon, but I'm concerned about Amazon's policies for new sellers in Q4. Can you talk about it, please? Sure. If you guys aren't familiar with this, last year during Q4, Amazon, they did 2 things. For like 3 or 4 weeks leading up to around Christmas time, they didn't allow new sellers to sign up. And I think new sellers who had never shipped in a shipment before, during those 3 or 4 weeks, they didn't let them send in their first or create their first shipment. But I don't know if they're going to do that this year or not. My understanding that the reasoning for them doing that is because they're around the holidays, their distribution centers are just like super full. So If you're worried about that, I would just go on Amazon and sign up for an account today, because as of today, as far as I know, you can still sign up for new accounts. So yeah, it's nothing to worry about. Just go ahead and just go sign up for a free account right now. There's nothing to worry about. All right, now lots of questions popping in. Let's see. If you try to make a Seller Central account from a country that's not approved, what can I do when Amazon asks for proof of address? This is something I'm not really familiar with, so I can't help you too much, but maybe you could try to like rent an address in the US. There's lots of services that do this. You could get like a PO box. You can get them through the UPS store. There's this website called like travelingmailbox.com, which I think it's like $100 a year, and you get a US address and they forward you your mail. So you could try one of those. Yeah, sorry, I don't have too much experience in that. Jillian asked, do you think the market is becoming oversaturated with too many sellers? Is there enough opportunity for new sellers? So Jillian, I've been hearing probably for 3 years now that the market is too saturated and there's no longer space for new sellers. That actually, my whole career selling on Amazon, which has been a few years now, and I've launched hundreds of products on Amazon. The whole time I've always heard that it's too crowded, it's oversaturated. So I personally think no, considering during this time that it's always been way too saturated for me to ever do well. I've launched over 100 products. 95% of them have done well. We've launched two products publicly through these case studies during this time where it's too saturated. They're doing really well as well. So if you can get what I'm saying here is I don't think it's oversaturated. You'll hear that forever, that it always is. And there's still tons of opportunity there. So I wouldn't worry about it. Andrew says it's not free for all. As far as I'm concerned, the personal account is free for everyone on Seller Central. The professional account costs $40 a month, but I think you can sign up. I don't know of anyone who can't sign up for the personal account. What are your thoughts on the Mexican market? Jamie Gomez asked this. In North America, US makes up like, I don't know, off the top of my head, I would guess like 95, maybe even 98% of sales. So the Canadian market and the Mexican market are both pretty small. If you live in Mexico or you live in Canada and you think it's easier for you to sell in one of those marketplaces instead of the US or the UK or Germany, which would be the two other most popular marketplaces, feel free to do so. If you haven't started yet, the most important thing is just getting started. So I'm a big believer of selling whatever marketplace you think is the easiest for you. So yeah, that's what I think about it. There's not going to be as much demand there, but there's still going to be some products that sell well. What ratio of people give reviews on JumpSend? This is a good question. So the primary purpose of JumpSend is not to get reviews. The goal of JumpSend is to get additional sales and therefore increase your sales velocity. That's the most important, in my opinion, thing that Amazon takes into account in their search engine ranking algorithms is your sales velocity. So the main goal of JumpSend is to get additional sales and therefore sales velocity, all right? So with that being said though, anytime you make a sale, there's a certain percentage of people who leave a review on that particular product. For whatever reason, it does seem like people who purchase products on JumpSend are more likely to leave a review, but they're not asked to do so. They're not required. We don't like wink, wink, nudge, nudge or anything like that. JumpSend's a place to get additional sales, and the shoppers really like it because they get a discount on those sales. If I had to guess, I would guess like, just from my personal experience, maybe like 20% of shoppers on JumpSend leave reviews. But we have no way of tracking that because that would be against terms of service and we want to be like totally white hat. So keep in mind, the goal of JumpSend is to get additional sales, but as a result of getting sales, you sometimes get reviews. So hopefully that helps. Why are Jungle Snuggs doing so bad? Well, our goal was to sell 10 units a day, which is 300 a month. And we've been selling about 600 a month. So they're selling about twice as well as we anticipated. And to me, 600 a month isn't very bad. Some people do wonder, they say, hey, like I go to Amazon and I use Jungle Scout on the Jungle Snuggs listing, and it's only showing like 150 or 200 or 100 or whatever else. Keep in mind, though, that Jungle Scout gives you the estimates for each individual variation. So there's 3 variations. There's white, blue, and there's pink. If you add them up all together, you'll get roughly 500 or 600, and that's about how many units we're doing a day. Let's see, sorry, there's a lot of questions coming in, especially on 3 different platforms, so I'm just picking ones out. I apologize if I'm skipping over you. Does JumpSend work for the European market or Germany? Not yet, but if you check back in about 2 months, maybe 6 weeks, 2 months, we'll be good to go then. Is it okay to create a private label even though I don't have a registered trademark? I'm just starting out. This is a popular question right now, so I'll be happy to answer this one. You do not need a trademark to sell on Amazon. You don't need a trademark to private label a product and sell that product on Amazon. So no, it's not required to have a trademark to sell on Amazon. Jungle Sticks is not trademarked. It's not a registered trademark, and Jungle Snuggs is not a registered trademark. They're both doing very well, and I'm able to sell those on Amazon without any problems. If you do get a registered trademark, so I did apply for trademarks for both of those marks, Jungle Snuggs and Jungle Sticks. However, it's a very lengthy process with the US government. It takes like 6 months to do so. So I applied for them like 2 months ago. So it's probably like 4 more months, maybe 3 months if I'm lucky. After I get registered trademarks, then I can enter Amazon's new brand registry program, which does have additional benefits, but it's not required by any means. Like I said, Jungle Snuggs is doing well, yet it does not have a trademark. Not in the brand registry program. I can't take advantage of any of those benefits. Let's see. Let me grab some from this YouTube. Excuse me, this Facebook. Whoops. All right. LLCs and tax BS. Chris put this. I assume that's a question. You want to know about them. Chris, if you ask me a more specific question there about LLCs or tax, I'd be more than happy to give you the answer to the best of my knowledge. Let's see. Do you think it'd be easier for someone starting out to start selling in Mexico or the UK? Seems like FBA in America is very saturated. My follow along the $1 million case study, and you can see how well we do in Europe. But my hunch is that our U.S. products are going to do better than our European products, just because there's not as much demand yet in the EU. Now, if you're happy with just selling like 3 units, 5 units, something like that a day, maybe making an extra like $20, $50, something like that, then you can definitely sell like in these other marketplaces. If you're trying to get to $1 million in a short amount of time like we are, I would probably still sell in the U.S., but you can use Jungle Scout and find these opportunities in all different types of countries. So like even in these smaller marketplaces like Mexico or France or Spain or Italy, there's still products that sell 300, 500 units a day and stuff. There's just not as many of them. So I don't have a great answer for you. I would probably go, I guess you said Mexico or the UK. I would probably do the UK if those were your 2 options. I'm curious why you say Mexico, though. If you live there, then my answer might be a little bit different. I'm not sure. Let's see. Ramesh says, I want to sell in the UK. Then go for it. Greg, I'm starting in Europe too right now. Let's see who's going to reach 30K first, starting with 2K budget. Do you accept the challenge? Boris, that sounds good. Let's do it. Keep me updated on your progress. I would love to see who hits 30K first, and I wish you the best of luck. If you beat me, I won't even be disappointed because I'm stoked for that. On average, how many units should I have with a 2K budget? That's really difficult to answer. If you're sourcing a product for $5, quick math in my head, that'd be 400 units with $2,000. There's a lot of products you can source for less than that or more than that. So I don't know. I mean, to answer your question, I think you just need to figure out what you want to sell. That'd be like step 1, then start finding suppliers for it. How long should I run my PPC campaigns? As long as your PPC campaigns are profitable or even break even, that's my opinion, I don't see any reason why I would ever turn them off, because I'll trade you $1 for $2 all day long. So yeah, and even I run my PPC campaigns all the way up to my break even ACOS, because like I said, the biggest thing in Amazon's ranking algorithm is sales velocity. Okay, so I mean the even at a break-even ACOS with my PPC campaigns, I'm still getting that additional sales velocity, which results in better organic ranking, which results in more organic sales. Let's see. Do you have to have a freight forwarder? I would think you'd be almost crazy not to use a freight forwarder, just because like customs and all that kind of stuff is very difficult. I've always used a freight forwarder, so I couldn't even walk you through the steps of all the things you have to do without one. So, I mean, my answer is pretty much just yes. If you're shipping by ocean, you have to have a freight forwarder, as far as I'm concerned. If you're going to ship by like an air courier service like FedEx or DHL or whatever, then you don't need one. I see a few questions in here about like taxes and legalities and things like that for selling in the EU stores. By no means an expert on that. I've only skimmed the very surface for learning about it. However, we're going to do a whole 1-hour session during the $1 million case study that's going to discuss just this, and we're going to bring on an expert who's much smarter than I am. So, all right. Greg, thank you so much for doing those videos. It's so helpful. I found a product I like. It sells great. I can achieve 100% ROI, so 100% return on investment if you ship via sea. What are your thoughts? Alberto, I think go for it. 100% ROI is what I shoot for on all my products. And shipping via sea is not that big of a deal. Sure, it takes like 30 or 20, maybe 30 days longer. But I mean, if that's what it takes to get the 100% ROI, just ship it ocean. Go for it. Hi, Greg. Thank you for providing such great content. How do you push the sales velocity for products like the strong cardboard boxes? Keep up the good work. As far as increasing your sales velocity goes, there's a few things that you can do. You can run a promotion, whether that's a lightning deal or you're using something like JumpSend, like a deal site. You can increase PPC spend. You can increase the amount of keywords that you're bidding on. You can run AMS, which is Amazon Marketing Services, which is a different type of paid ads. Those are the things that are working well for me. I hear more and more talk these days about trying to drive outside traffic to Amazon. In my opinion, in all my tests, and I'm pretty good with paid traffic and stuff just from my experience with Jungle Scout, I've never been able to make it profitable. So unless like you're an expert on that and you feel like you're really good, I personally wouldn't even worry about it. Let's see here. Oh. All right. Let me find a few other good ones. Once you're on the first page, is it good to stop PPC? I already kind of covered that. No, I don't think so. I'm a big fan of just continuing to run it. I work for a freight forwarder. Makes it nice knowing that side of it. My advice, use one of the big ones, not one you haven't heard of. All right, Dan, it's good advice. Thank you. Let's see. Hi, Greg. Do you think Forecastly would be a good software to use if I'm selling clothing with so many sizes and color variations? Yes, I do. A lot of you guys know I'm a big fan of Forecastly. It's an inventory management tool, and that's what I personally use in my business, and that's why I'm a big fan of it. So yes, it has like, especially if you're doing something like clothing with tons and tons of variations, I imagine that's a nightmare trying to, reorder all that stuff, forecast all that stuff. So Mark, to answer your question, yes, I think, if I was you, I'd at least give it, I think there's a free trial to at least do that. $10,000 budget, what would you allocate to product, PPC, and outsourcing? The thing about, so I mean, if you have a 10K budget, you can probably factor on like $500 for really good photography and nice packaging design. As far as like PPC goes, keep in mind that Amazon will subtract your PPC spend from the revenue generated from the sales. So it's not even necessarily like cash out of your pocket. It's not like negative cash flow to run PPC. So yeah, I would use pretty much all of that to purchase my inventory. And with 10K, you can easily purchase a few different products if you want. Greg, can you talk about Flexport? I don't have too much to say about it. They're a freight forwarder. Not like involved with the business or anything at all. It's just the one that I personally use. But there's lots of good freight forwarders out there. Don't feel like you have to use Flexport. That's just the one that I happen to use, and everyone always asks me that. So that's why I talk about them. How many weeks of giving away products, Greg? I would give away products, give away coupons until you're happy with your sales velocity and where you're organically ranking. So for the Jungle Snuggs, I think that was like 3 or 4 weeks. The first week, I think I gave away like, I forget, maybe like 40 or 50 coupons, like a lot. The next week I gave away less, maybe like 20 or 30. I don't remember off the top of my head, but this is like rough ballpark numbers. The next week, maybe only like 10. And at that point, like I was ranking well, I was making organic sales, so I didn't give away any more coupons. If you go back in some of the $1 million case study videos, I talk about that in a little more depth, but that would be like ballpark what I remember off the top of my head. At what point should you start listing on Amazon? Once you're ready to pay for production, once the product's ready, as soon as you made a decision after researching on Jungle Scout. Yeah, you can create the listing whenever you want, because Amazon will suppress your listing until like you get your first unit of inventory in stock. So, you know, I'd say, so I mean, it's not that important until you've found your product, you found a good supplier, your supplier is like, you purchased it from them. At that point, there's like, it's kind of like a waiting game while you wait for them to actually produce your product. So that'd be a good time for you to work on your listing, but you can do it whenever you want. I have 100 products with GS1 labels I bought online that belong to a dead company. Is there an easy way to update the UPC barcode tied on ASIN without losing ASIN history? Good question. You'd have to email seller support about this. I've never personally done this. You could probably, if you have brand registry, you could change the product identifier to something like model number or something like that. And then if you wanted it to be tied to a UPC, then you could change it back to UPC and probably put in the new UPC there. But that'd be something that you'd have to just email seller support about. They can help you. Let's see. If I purchase Jungle Scout today, do you think it's possible to find a product within a week? I've been having a hard time. Thank you. Yes, it's definitely possible to find a product within a week. I would encourage you. Jungle Scout like helps tremendously, and a lot of people in this chat box, I've probably already said this, and they'll say this too. Keep in mind though, like it sounds like you're off to a good start, because Jungle Scout, the tool, is in combination with like the education of like how to find a good product. With both of those combined, you can easily find a good product. So we have information, lots of educational information inside of the Jungle Scout web app, or inside the Jungle Scout membership area once you sign up for the extension. We also have lots of free content on our site. So yes, I'd say like the Jungle Scout tool in combination with our educational resources, it's very realistic to find a product within a week. I'm having analysis paralysis. It's hard to choose a product. I have a good one, but I just keep analyzing. Julia, I know what you mean, and I think a lot of people kind of like hit this, right? It's like, a lot of people will say like, man, like I found like 5 good products. I don't know which one's like the best for me or which one I should go for out of these 5. And at some point, once you feel like that's like the best one that you found, at some point you just have to pull the trigger. You can start with like a smaller order to minimize your risk. And at some point you just have to go for it. Let's see. I wanted to order a small amount of product with my logo on it, but the minimum I can order for that is 500. Anything less isn't possible. What do you recommend I do? Good question. A lot of factories won't let you personalize products unless you hit a certain level of order quantity. So my recommendation, you can either talk to the factory and say, like, try to convince them that you're going to be a great long-term customer, but the first order, you just need a smaller order size. And you can use the terminology like this is a sample order, a test order, you want to verify quality, and all these things are like true things, so you're not necessarily lying to them. To try to get the MOQ down, you can try to find another supplier, but depending what it is, especially if it's something that like needs like a mold, then it's unlikely that a factory is going to do like a real small order of that. So yeah, that's the best advice I have for that. Can people leave reviews before I have inventory in stock? Thanking friends and family for reviews. Just so you know, having friends and family leave reviews for you is against Amazon's terms of service, so I would never personally recommend that. Can people leave reviews before I have the first inventory in stock? I don't think so, because the listings are suppressed. So it's possible, but I don't think so. Mario said, I found a product on my first day. I love JS. Mario, great to hear it. I guess that helps answer the question we had before. Do you think I could find a product within a week? Bethany says, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Will do. She was the one asking about the analysis paralysis. Sure thing. I love you too. What type of file do you send your contract to the supplier in? I would recommend a PDF format. Sending in like Microsoft like Word format isn't like the most professional way to send kind of like finalized documents to people. That's like more of an editor, right? So I always print like a PDF and then send a PDF. There's lots of free PDF tools out there if you don't have one. When do you think I should sign up for Jungle Scout? When I'm ready to start selling despite not having enough capital ready? Good question. Like whenever you feel comfortable and that you'd like to sign up for it. You can start looking for a product now, even if you don't have the capital ready for your initial purchase, but I don't want to pressure you into anything. I guess if nothing else, there's a money back guarantee. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and get it now, if you didn't like it or whatever, or something, you can always try it out that way. Do you recommend selling a similar product that competitor is already selling extremely well? The competitor sells 4,000 units per month. Mark asked this. Great question. Yes, I always recommend selling a product that has existing demand on Amazon, okay? So yes, I like to sell things that are already selling well there. I do like to make certain like certain like improvements to the product or somehow stand out so it's not like an exact copy. But yes, I would want to sell something that has proven demand on Amazon. Do you send straight to Amazon from the manufacturer or bring the product in-house? I always send it straight to Amazon. Some of you people know this about me, but and my wife and I were nomads. Right now, you might see the background's a little bit different than where it was last week. I'm in the Netherlands right now, so I don't have like a house or even like a warehouse anymore for people to like ship stuff to for me to inspect. It goes from the factory to Amazon, collecting all these boxes and stuff and inspecting or whatever. That's a lot of like pretty grunt work that I wouldn't be real interested in doing. So yeah, it goes from the manufacturer to Amazon. I don't ever want to touch that stuff. Do you have any experience with Canadians selling in the U.S. market? Yes, there's lots and lots of Canadians that sell in the U.S. market, including a few people who are on the Jungle Scout team. How do I go about doing this? It's, from what I understand, pretty easy to do. I don't even think you have to incorporate in the U.S. You can sign up for a U.S. seller account and essentially ship your products there. As far as tax and stuff goes, you'll have to, I'm not quite qualified to give you like Canadian tax advice on how to do that, but there's no real hurdles that you have to jump through. Hi, Greg. Is there a setting where I can switch the German marketplace in Jungle Scout to English? I can't read German. We don't have that setting, but you can install. What I've done is I installed the Google Translate Chrome extension. It's free, and you click the button, and it translates all that German to English. Keep in mind though, with any translations, whether you use a computer to do or there's a real translator, there's always some amount of, like not all words directly translate, so you kind of have to keep that in mind. Can you bundle with 2 different factories? Yes, you can. My recommendation to you, if you're doing that, is to have whichever factory you like better, to have them coordinate with the other factory, hopefully even order from the other factory, because that sounds like a headache to try to coordinate between these 2 factories and have it shipped to one or whatever. If you let the factories coordinate this themselves, I think you'll be much happier. In order to prove a product, I need a mold. The price is $500. Yeah, that's the problem with molds. It's a higher barrier of entry, which means it's less likely that someone's going to copy that, but at the same time, it's a higher amount of startup capital. I don't have any good advice for you that. I know creating molds is expensive, so I don't really have any good hacks around that. Have you ever tried drop shipping? Mario, back when I used to have a real job, I at one point tried drop shipping. Drop shipping doesn't really work anymore. That was back in the olden days when there was no Amazon and everyone was just ordering for e-commerce stores, and e-commerce was really young and all their stores were really crappy and stuff, and people were cool with 3-week shipping times and stuff. Drop shipping worked pretty good, but I haven't really heard of anyone doing well with drop shipping anymore besides the people who are selling the courses. Is $2,000 including pictures and PPC? $2,000 is a good amount of capital, and with that amount of capital, you can start private labeling. If I only had $2,000 to spend, I would probably take the photos myself. We have this really good blog post. You can search for it on Jungle Scout site of how you can create pictures yourself just using your iPhone and some good lighting. And keep in mind, $2,000, you don't necessarily have to deduct your PPC from that, because Amazon will remove your PPC spend from your revenue. So, when you make sales, Amazon pays you, so they'll subtract the PPC before they pay you. So you don't necessarily need more startup capital in order to run PPC. Sorry, I'm trying to read questions and talk to you guys at the same time. I lose my train of thought sometimes. Would you ever consider doing a digital nomad lifestyle channel? I'm highly interested in pursuing this lifestyle with my girlfriend. Good question. Maybe it's something I do in the future, Stuart. It's a really cool way to live. I just mentioned it a few minutes ago, but my wife and I, we quit our jobs a few years back. We sold our house and sold our possessions, and we travel around. Jungle Scout's a remote company. It's pretty easy to do in this modern day, considering, even when we all work in the same place, we still communicate through Slack and Trello and everything else. Everything's in the cloud these days. So yeah, it's a really cool way to live. Does JumpSend have the ability to manage my email campaigns in the Amazon Canadian marketplace? Paul, unfortunately, it does not right now, but that functionality is coming. I think our target date's the first week in October to launch that. Let's see. When did you launch your second product? If you're talking about the second product in the $1 million case study, we launched our hooded baby towels, which was our second product. Our first product was the bamboo marshmallow sticks. The second product was, I think, June 2nd. So it's about 2 months ago. Yeah, 2 months and a week ago or something. Yeah, so I guess that's what you're asking. If you're asking about me, my personal Amazon business, the one that I don't really publicly share, not like the jungle sticks and the towels, then I launched that a couple weeks after launching my first one. Can you touch on product insert guidelines? This is a good question. So what we're talking about here is putting a little insert inside of a box. And there's essentially no guidelines around this, because just think Sony sells TVs on Amazon, right? Or Hoover sells vacuums on Amazon or whatever else. They don't ask Amazon permission of what they can put inside their boxes, right? They just put the same stuff inside their boxes that they sell at Walmart and wherever else. They don't maybe they're under kind of Amazon's jurisdiction there, but from what I've never heard of anyone getting in trouble for anything like this before. So as far as I'm concerned, put whatever you want on the inserts inside your box. The only things that I would stay away from is anything that's like clearly illegal against Amazon's terms of service, regardless of where you do it. So like it's illegal to pay people for reviews. Do not put that on an insert inside your box, because wherever you put that in the entire world, that's illegal, okay? Like that's pretty much like the only big one I can think of is like incentivized reviews. Anything else, like asking people to go to your website, doing this, whatever else, like feel free to do that on the insert inside the box. I don't see anything against that. I think like some people are like worried about that, but like, do you think like I said, like Sony like checks Amazon's rules before they remove like their registration card? No, they don't do that. So I would just like, it's totally fine as far as I'm concerned to put like something in your box that asks them to go to like, actually the next batch of Jungle Snuggs that we just ordered, we put an insert in there and it asks people to go to junglesnuggs.com, enter their email for like a giveaway. So yeah. Julia, thank you so much for doing this great user travel forever. Thank you, Julia, and thank you for watching. Have you used Amazon Launchpad before? I have not. I think Amazon Launchpad's pretty cool. Actually, our social media manager who is helping manage the chat right now, she has used the Amazon Launchpad program. She gave me some insight. She got like a free like A+ listing, which means you get to put a whole bunch of like cool pictures and potentially even a video on there. You get to use the Amazon Vine program for free, I think. So it does have some cool perks to it. It does need to be like, from what I can tell, like I've never used it, so I don't know like all the guidelines, but like a pretty like original type of product. Kind of like almost like a new invention, not like, I think they would turn down some like the private label products that are more or less kind of like Me Too products. Will you be in Hong Kong for any conferences? Mark asks. I normally go to China in the fall time during trade show season. I haven't booked flights or travel there yet, but yeah, it's likely I'll be in that area around Canton Fair time. We'll see. I don't quite plan that far ahead. Let's see. Sorry, some of these are. I have one window that's like the chat's all put together, but the problem is questions go by really quickly. Sometimes it's even hard to read them. When you run a promotion with 50%, do you pay the Amazon referral fee on the original price or the discounted price? You pay it on the discounted price, the referral fee. The pick, pack, and ship fees, those are flat fees regardless of the price. So those are going to be the same, but the referral fee will be less. You pay that on the sale price. Someone else, are you guys going to the Canton Fair this year? I don't know yet. I might go. I like going to China. It's a really good like cultural experience, like better understand this business that we're working in. It's definitely not required. I sold on Amazon for like a couple years before I even went to China. But if you ever get the chance to do so, I'd recommend it. I really like going there and visiting factories and your suppliers and all that stuff. It's really cool. Why do you think dropshipping works no more? I haven't really heard like anyone like actually being successful at dropshipping anymore. Personally, the reason I don't think it's successful anymore, or that I don't think it works anymore, most like the shipping times are really slow. I don't know, like you still have to figure out how to drive traffic like to your website, which that I guess essentially more or less that's the most difficult part, is getting traffic on your website. Conversion rates are down across the board on e-commerce stores outside of like Amazon, because more and more people are shopping at Amazon these days. I'm sure there's someone in the chat box that says no, like my friend or me or whoever else is doing really well with the dropshipping store. And I'm not saying like it's impossible, but I personally wouldn't do it because I'm just not a believer in that particular model anymore. We have 4 minutes left. I'm going to try to get to 3 or 4 more questions, and then I've got to run. Let's see. Is it true this moment is the best and as well the worst moment to start with FBA? Is it true this is the best and worst moment to start with FBA? How do you estimate the German market? I don't quite ever sure what you know me as far as is this the best and the worst time to start. The best time to start to sell on Amazon was 10 years ago when they started the Amazon FBA program. The second best time to start on FBA is today. All right, so it's still a good opportunity. Like I said, like my entire Amazon selling career, everyone's always told me that it's way too saturated now and that it's no longer a good opportunity. I think that's just like what people say about any potential business opportunity. That's what I think about it. Let's see. If you launch a product with a final profit of $10, how much of that amount would you budget for marketing and PPC? Really difficult question to answer. Final profit of $10. How much of that would you budget for marketing and PPC? I don't know for sure. I like a good rule of thumb. Go back. Search for a blog post on the Jungle Scout site. How much money do I need to start selling on Amazon? And I break down all the economics of like what's a good amount to start with for like different parts of it. It's kind of the way it's worded is kind of difficult to answer. I apologize. Hi from Italy. Simone's asking this. Greg, how risky is it to use a barcode not purchased directly from GS1? Good question. Okay, so none of my UPCs are purchased from GS1. So technically, when I do that, I am breaking Amazon's terms of service. I've personally never gotten in trouble for it. I've personally never heard of anyone else getting in trouble for it. It doesn't seem like it's something Amazon actually cares about. I don't know how risky it is. Like I said, I've never gotten in trouble. I've never heard of anyone else getting in trouble. I think if Amazon ever did crack down onto it, they would probably suppress your listing and make you correct it, at which point you'd have to buy a GS1 barcode. I doubt they would do anything else more than that, but we don't really have anything to go off of since I've never heard of anyone getting in trouble for it. So that's the best advice I can give you. Proceed at your own risk. How much is Jungle Scout extension and web app? If you go to junglescout.com and scroll down, there's a pricing table at the bottom that gives you all that information. Jungle Scout extensions either like $97 or $197, and the web apps there's a few different tiers and it's on a monthly basis. All right. Last question. Let me try to find a good one here, or maybe let's see, maybe a Periscope question or something that I haven't. Can you talk about cash flow for gearing up for Q4? Besides negotiating better payment terms, we should just taking out a line of credit cards, etc., etc. This is a really good question. So once I wouldn't recommend using lines of credit for anyone just starting out. If you're just in the experimental phase and the learning phase, I wouldn't recommend this. However, one of the downsides is, or one of the things that hold a lot of sellers back from scaling up, like how do I get from $50,000 a month in revenue to $100,000 to $1 million a month in revenue? What's holding a lot of those people back? Once like you learn how to do it, once you've launched like 2 or 3 products, it's like, okay, this is a very repeatable process. Like if you've launched 3 successful products, like there's no reason you can't launch 100 successful products or 1,000 successful products, at which time you'll be doing, hundreds of thousands or $1 million a month in revenue or whatever. So at that point, I guess the challenging part for you is like, well, how do I get enough cash to purchase these products? So a few places, there's a website called upfund.io. They loan money to Amazon sellers to purchase inventory. There's another one called, I'm blanking on it. There's another one specifically for Amazon's, I think it's amzlenders.com. That's an option. Amazon gives loans. They'll notify you when you're eligible for one inside of their program. You can try credit cards. Once you're like more of an established business and you have good cash flow and a history, a lot of the banks would open you up a line of credit to purchase inventory with. So I'm actually a believer in that now. Once you've established yourself and you've become like an experienced seller, I wouldn't recommend any beginners to take out a line of credit to help them scale their business. But like I said, I am a believer, like if I can borrow money at like, let's say like 8% and I'm making 100% ROI on that money that I borrow, to me those are economics that make sense. Like if I borrow 100K to purchase inventory, I have to pay back 108,000, but I've turned that 100K into 200K. Personally, I'm a believer in that, but that's gonna be like your own risk tolerance and stuff. But those would be some of my pieces of advice on where you could gain access to outside capital to help invest in your Amazon business. That being said, guys, there's lots and lots of questions here, and I apologize for not being able to get to both of them. I have to run. I have to make Jungle Scout better. The workday is not over for me yet. still motivated to keep making the business better and better and better. So I got to go to work on it. But thank you guys so much. If you want to drop your questions in the comments, like for example, this YouTube video, we'll do our best to get back to answering them. We're pretty good about answering all of them. You can also drop questions in the blog post comments for a relevant blog post, and we are very good about going back through all those and answering them to help you that way. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you could give us a thumbs up or like the little heart button or subscribe to us on YouTube, it'd mean the world to me. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you next Friday. Adios.